Welcome, reading 4 to our waning crescent energy, the last moon phase, the eighth moon phase of the Aquarius moon. We are having a lot of big things in real time. Today's February 17th. Tomorrow is the 18th, and today's last day of Aquarius season. Tomorrow is the first day of Pisces season. So we'll be passing the torch from air to water, although the Aquarians are known to be the water bringers. So there's something there. But also, it's the last month. It's the last month of the astrological year. So there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening and coming up for you. And I feel like you're the first reading that I feel like it's almost like you're getting, the other readings felt like advice. This feels like a reading, like for you guys. I don't know if that makes any sense. You know what I mean? I feel like the other one's got a lot of advice and the other readings were great. But this one, I feel like as if like I'm reading for one person, but I know there's more than one person that's going to watch this, you know? So when I was putting this together, it was very interesting. This is called the Wellness Oracle deck, and they have 3 different actual sets of cards in the Wellness Oracle. They call it the library, the Wellness Library. So we have positive vibes, stress less, and good deeds. Okay. The green is positive vibes, the yellow is stress less, and the good deeds is the blue. So it's very interesting. I feel like we may have some Southern Hemisphere people here as well, because in the other reading, it went from blue to green. And I felt like it was like coming out of the winter, going into spring. And I feel like for you guys, I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like you're going from like summer to like fall to winter, you know? And somewhere in there, you got to keep a positive vibe. It could even be that maybe you'll be, traveling somewhere like to the Southern Hemisphere where it's going to be. I know some of our tribe members have been looking to go down under. So very interesting. And I know I'm almost 100% positive we have at least one Australian tribe member. I feel like we have more. Might be New Zealand, but I definitely know we have some in the Southern Hemisphere. So with that being said, this is the card that you chose. Believe in yourself a little more. And that's what I was saying. I'm like, even though it's the waning crescent and it's the rest and restore and all that, and we could talk about the moon cycles, I almost feel like this is just really for you guys. This is just messages from spirit to just believe in yourself a little bit more. So let's see what the other cards have to say. The next positive vibe card is you decide your vibe. Oh, I love it. So I'm going to bring out as many as they want me to. Okay, so then we have stress less. Superheroes are fictional, so stop trying to be perfect. Oh my gosh, I love this. Now listen, superheroes are fictional in some ways, right? Because not as far as we know, we don't know of any human beings that can fly. That doesn't mean that they don't. And if you found yourself here, especially if you're new, welcome. And those of you who keep coming back, welcome back. But you are a superhero. If you're an empath or a sensitive or a light worker, spirit warrior, whatever you align with, witch, wizard, healer, healing practitioner of some kind, that is a superhero job. All of us are superheroes here, really. That's the thing. I feel like Earth is like an Earth school for all of us that are superheroes in the galaxies and the universe, right? We come here to learn different things, different aspects about humanity, about the part of our soul that needs tending to or needs more expansion, like our dark side, or coming back to the light after we've been in the dark, right? After we've been through the dark night of the soul and the shadow. And I feel like for you guys, you're trying to be perfect because you're so different. But look at that. You decide your vibe. I mean, that's a superhero, right? You decide your vibe and believe in yourself a little bit more. I feel like for some of you, you are real superheroes, like for real, like spirits, like no joke. Like you guys have some major, major gifts that other people do not have. Okay. So, but what they're saying is you have to, even superheroes have to rest, right? Superman still sleeps, right? Because he's a man. He's wherever he comes from. He's still, I don't know what you would call it. I guess maybe he's not on the outside. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, as Homo sapien, an earthling, you know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know. That just goes beyond a lot of things. That's for you to think about and ponder. But you know what I mean? It's like Superman, when he's Clark Kent, he can't be perfect. The whole point is that, I mean, to look at him, you're like, how do you not know that's not Superman, But when his hair is in his face and he's got his glasses on and he's, kind of, they're like, oh, Clark, you know what I mean? You're such a fumble, blah, blah, blah. It's like, he's not being Superman. He's being somebody else. So I also feel like you guys are trying to be something that you're not. And Spirit's like, stop trying to be something that you're not. Okay. So this actually had 3 cards behind it for positive vibes, okay? So I didn't have enough room for all of it, so we'll go through them together. So the first one is focus on the step in front of you, not the entire staircase. And for some of you that were drawn to other readings, if you were really, really drawn to some of the other readings, I highly recommend you go check them out, because some of these cards were actually in the other readings, you know what I mean? But they had me bring them into here as well. So that was in one of them. And the analogy for that was so beautiful. And they spoke about how Spirit said, imagine if you're trying to go upstairs. If someone came to your house and took out the first 2 stairs, you'd be like, what the, right? And you're like, well, I mean, I can get up there, right? So you climb up to the 3rd stair. You can get up there, but it's not easy, right? And you get up to the 3rd stair, and you're walking up the stairs, and you get to maybe stair 7, and you're like, what the fuck? And it's missing 2 more stairs. And you're like, well, I could jump across, but you look down and you're like, that's kind of high up. And oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm going to make that. That's kind of a high jump, you know, right? It's because there's a reason why we put one foot in front of the other. And we go one step at a time. So don't look too far ahead, you know, especially if you're looking too far ahead and you're not looking down in front of you and seeing where you're going. You know, you could end up falling through a pit hole because you thought the stairs were there, but they're not, because you're trying to get somewhere that you're not ready to get to yet. Okay, another positive vibe card. A good deed can brighten a dark world. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to say, because the good deed card is next, we're so going there. Okay, so the next one, we'll go to the last positive one later. So the next card is good deed. So this is your mission should you choose to accept it. Do a good deed by, recycle paper, bottles, and plastic items where possible. And we spoke about this in another reading too. Both of these last 2 cards were separate readings. So if you're drawn to readings 1 through 3, you may want to go check it out. But yeah, you know, maybe you need to start a recycle drive in your town. You know, maybe they don't have recycling in your town, and so Spirit is like challenging you to do it. We brought up the analogy of, imagine if you once a week you set up that you get people to volunteer, and if you don't have the money, go around and ask and say, hey, are you interested in recycling? Like, I really want to do this. Like, I really want to take care of, you know, our planet. And then once a week you have a recycling drive in your town. You know, get a tent. If you can't do it inside somewhere, maybe ask the local school or a community center or VFW and just be like, hey, would you be willing to let us use this space to bring the garbage in? I promise we'll clean up afterwards, you know. And then get at least 4 people to volunteer in your town and drive maybe an hour to a place that does recycle. And then you're the person, you get somebody's truck, and you know what I mean? Yeah, it's a pain in the ass, but you'll feel really good that you're doing something really special for somebody else. Or it could just be as simple as you're going for a walk in nature and you pick up some garbage on your way. You take a bag with you and you pick up the recycling, and then you stop at your local recycling on the way home and you put that in there. You can keep gloves in your car. You don't even have to touch it. You know, but this has come up twice now. So either this is something that they really want us to do to help give back to Gaia, or it could just be that, like, maybe you're not recycling and they're like, you could be doing more, and you know you could be doing more, right? So and also the last card is a positive vibe, and Spirit says, look on the bright side. Look on the bright side. Also, this came in at the beginning, and it's come in for a few readings. This quote from Nelson Mandela, and it says, it always seems impossible until it's done. Right? Because you're like, man, that sounds like a lot of work, or that sounds like, you know, but, you know, maybe it's something you need to do. When's the last time you did something completely selfless for another person? Also, you can't live in the superhero vibe and not actually live the superhero life. You know what I mean? And maybe for some of you, you just need to believe in yourself a little bit more. And it's interesting that we've got green, yellow, green, blue. So that, I mean, you know, we spoke about that earlier. Maybe that doesn't mean anything to you, but I went down a little bit darker in case it does. So I just want to bring these out, and I feel like I want you to look at it one more time. Isn't it interesting that they say, look on the bright side, and a good deed can brighten a dark world? So imagine what you can do with your gifts to help people. And also, this is coming up again. You decide your vibe. It almost feels like 2 different readings, because I feel like there's part of this reading that you guys are like, you know, you're confident, you know, blah, blah, blah. And Spirit's just trying to, you know, give you a little more like, hey, you know what? Why don't you do a little bit more for everybody else too, you know? And then I feel like there's another part of you guys that you're super powerful and really awesome, but you're like living a lie. You're like living a lie of like who you are. Maybe you're somebody who, you know, you seem invisible to the world, but you want like bright pink hair and you want to wear glasses from the 50s and, you know, and be tattooed and, you know, whatever. Or maybe you want to dress like a librarian and you used to be a certain way. Spirit's like, whatever you want to do it. It's nobody's business but yours, like how to live your life. And Spirit wants you to live your life free from all this like things that you're putting on yourself and others. And I almost feel like there's like one last, this is about to go, but I just feel like there's one last like message that they just really want you to, okay, so that's it. It's the recycling. And it must mean something because they're keeping the Nelson Mandela thing here. It always seems impossible until it's done. Maybe you've been thinking about running a recycling facility or something, or starting your own company, because I can't explain how much I felt like one more card wanted to be there. So there could just be a message for one person.